Hello and welcome back to Wake Up with Dr. Cheryl, Wealth Transformation. The purpose of our program is to assist in the healing and transforming the relationship you have with money and wealth. Wealth transformation is a movement. We must understand the spiritual principles and unconscious integrity of having a wealthy mental and emotional attitude in every thought about our vehicles of exchange, money, currency, bankrolls, etc., for services and products. As Dr. John Gray says, our gender intelligence is also a key to bridging the gap between men and women on this very important subject. This is and has been affecting us all globally in the financial oversights, to put it mildly. Please do the work individually to understand so we can collectively heal this core challenge. I don't mean to offend anyone listening, and maybe you just don't know where to start. And the majority of the people are just too lazy to face the truth within themselves to heal this fundamental core value. So please wake up to the best you can be so you can be wealthy on every level possible. Start with taking inventory of your thoughts about every interaction you have with spending and receiving money. When you take inventory of your thoughts and emotions and write it down, this is where you can assess how you think and feel about wealth and money. It takes concentration and commitment to change. You can't be a wimp. It takes courage with a capital C. Remember, this is the wealth transformation movement. To become aware of wealth on all levels, to unleash your unconscious patterns with money, to be free. The statistics have changed a little bit, that 3% of the population have 97% of the world's wealth. It used to be, just last year only, 2% of the population had 98% of the majority of wealth. So inch by inch, one step at a time, this is changing. So my appeal to you is to be part of the growth in making the 3% grow deliberately by shifting your awareness and actions toward having all the wealth you desire and having this in a conscious and healthy way. Remember, this positive change comes responsibility to yourself and to your fellow humans. Just to share some global wealth transformation, now the UK is charging former UBS trader Tom Hayes with 8 counts of conspiracy to defraud by manipulating interest rates. All of these examples that I have recited are righteous acts that I have mentioned are for restoring integrity for all of us on this planet. Happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony, by Mahatma Gandhi. We have a local superstar guest this evening, Michael Shapiro. Mike Shapiro is a veteran of over 25 years in the sports and entertainment industries and brings a fountain of knowledge to the San Rafael Pacifics. Mike is one of the owners and acts as a president and manager of the Pacifics, one of our local heroes. Mr. Shapiro has served in various roles in major sports team management, television production and administration, new media production and rights acquisitions, marketing, athlete representation, consulting, and golf course management. Mike began his career in the sports industry in 1984 as vice president and general counsel of the San Francisco Giants. He was instrumental in the launch of Giants Vision, a cable-based subscription service featuring Giants home games and unique programming productions. He oversaw the administration of the Goodwill Games in St. Petersburg, Russia in 1994 and in New York City in 1998. In 2001, Mike founded a sports consultancy, Centerfield Management Group, where he served as managing principal and representing such clients as Tolan Robbins Productions, NBC Sports, Las Vegas, Clark County, Frank McCourt in his acquisition of the LA Dodgers, and the Lerner family in its successful acquisition of the Washington Nationals. Throughout his professional career, Mike has had the opportunity to lecture and speak extensively at a number of universities and to graduate students of Columbia University Business School, Georgetown University School of Business, amongst other major universities. Currently, along with his duties with the Pacific, Mike is consulting for the development of a multi-sports academy in Marin, creating multiple minor league teams in the North American Baseball League, and is teaching sports management at the University of San Francisco's Graduate Sports Management program. He is also writing a novel. In 2012, Mike, along with Eugene Lupario and Steve Allen, bought a share of the Pacific's and now serves as a minority owner in the ball club. Mike is married to his wife, Jane. They live in Corte Madera with their 2 sons, Harry and Jackson. This is the first part of a 2-part conversation with Mike. Well, Mike, welcome. Welcome. I met you just last week at the ball game, and that was very exciting because they won. And I thought of you as being a guest because I heard through one of our members here that you are fulfilling your dream.
I am, and I'm having so much fun doing it. I've had a long career in the sports business, having been with 3 Major League Baseball teams in the past and in a very high executive capacity. Had spent time with Tiger Woods' business manager at Nike. I've sort of fulfilled all of the big league dreams that people, I think, outside the sports industry think of as being, the top of the world, and never had as much satisfaction, never worked harder, never had much the kind of fun that I'm having right now, doing my own little thing. So
there was a part of you that didn't totally feel fulfilled when you were in those places? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely what you're hearing. I had dreams like any young man did, and I wanted to be a ball player. I played baseball in college, even played 8 games of independent professional ball, which is quite ironic that now I'm in that business. But when I realized that I couldn't play ball professionally any longer, found another route into professional sports.
Because that's your passion.
It's totally been my passion. I'm a very unidimensional person. I have, since I was a child, loved baseball, and that has been my entire focus in life. And so, when you don't achieve your dreams, you find new dreams to achieve.
Yes, exactly, and that's what it's about, because there's always more. You fulfill one dream, then you have another dream, or you make a new dream. I mean, this is, and it sounds like you've done it. And of course, just so you understand that my show is about wealth transformation and that relationship with wealth. And wealth isn't just money.
Right.
Wealth is, we live in a very wealthy area, meaning the beauty that we have. Marin is paradise. So that's another form of, and because of all the inequities that have been happening out there in the global, which still keeps surfacing with the greed factor. This is why I started this movement on this, because there's more than enough money for everybody to have $8 to $10 million apiece.
Well, my wealth and my definition of wealth throughout my life has changed, and potentially it has changed in a much better way. I suppose in the end we'll figure all that out, but I defined wealth differently when I was younger than from what I define it as now.
How explain what you mean?
Well, I think now that I have this retrospect in life at the age of 62 and having achieved the things that I have achieved.
And you've achieved a lot. Reading, I was like, I had to take a breath.
But it's been a journey. And it's been a journey that started as a young man who dreamt that my career in baseball, either as a player or then as an executive in the industry, was going to be defined by wealth in a financial sense and
that's how we're trained, and especially men.
Well, absolutely.
That's the MO.
Particularly my Jewish mother and Jewish grandmother defined it for me. My son, the lawyer. And I became the lawyer
Yeah.
and was able to do that in professional sports as general counsel for the Giants and the Braves, and
Right.
then on to the Nationals. But my definition of wealth at that time was money.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think now, with some maturity, and I've had 2 children, and 23 wonderful years of marriage, I define wealth in a very different way. And I think what I have now is this abundance of wealth because I have achieved dreams. I've achieved a lot of those dreams that people on the outside would like to have had. And then I turned away from it all, and I got off that track.
You turned away from just seeking money.
I did.
If that's what you're saying.
I did.
Yes,
I started
yes.
seeking sasatisfaction.
Yes.
And the achievement
And
of dreams.
you know how much longer you're going to live because of that?
I can't tell.
I mean, you don't know that, but I mean, just the fact that you're living your dream. And tell us how did you really come up with your dream?
When I was working in Washington as senior vice president of the Washington Nationals, which was my 3rd major league job and a job that I worked very hard to get. I helped the ownership group buy the team, and then they asked me to come on and help them run the team, and my own personal satisfaction level shrank, and I was quite surprised, and it had to do with the fact that I had very little time for my family.
Yeah.
My kids were both in middle school and playing Little League and doing all those things, which I had no time for.
Oh,
and
yeah,
so
yeah.
while I had a nice salary, I wasn't happy.
Yeah.
I wasn't happy, and my wife wasn't happy, and we really struggled with having had to move across the country to Washington, having had me gone most of the time, and for Jane to have to be the sole source of sustenance for the family. It was not satisfying, and so I think that was the first time it really hit me that having a big job in the sports industry and having a good salary and having the material things was not wealth. It wasn't satisfactory.
Yes, yes. Well, that's a good thing you woke up.
Yeah, I mean, and it wasn't suddenly waking up. It took time,
Right,
obviously,
years, yeah.
and it was a process.
Yeah.
But it evolved into an idea that I had harbored for years and years and years about, I don't know, I always kind of wanted to run my own little minor league team, and I always kind of dabbled with that as an idea in my head.
So you've always had that business nature, though.
I've always, but the business nature changed over time. I mean, in I think my more formative years, the business was big business, and it was corporate, and it was being at the top of a big food chain.
Right.
But I think as I grew older and as I desired to spend more time with my family, I inverted that process, and I wanted to get smaller and more local and more tangible, something that I could form. And so when I was in Washington and began this new transformation, I think toward smaller being better, I realized that on any given day, if I needed to talk to somebody in the marketing department, or if I needed to pick up the phone and call somebody in stadium operations, I had to go through this sort of process where I didn't feel connected to it at all. It was alienating.
Oh, that's the corporate environment.
Now, if I want to get a hold of the marketing department or the stadium operations department, I pick up the phone and I call myself.
Yeah.
And I rely on myself a lot more, and a small team of really talented, really dedicated people.
And the relationships, and that's today. That's what's happening is building those relationships.
Well, the relationships in business are closer. They are less built on a structure. They're more amorphous, and they're more to do with friendships than they were about roles. And they have more to do with a family-like connection, which I think we have in our office.
I love to hear this, Mike, because this is what's going to save our humanity. really. I mean, this is part of what my purpose and passion is, because it'll save everybody, because we're not computers, we're human beings, you know. And so this is such a wonderful example. Well, thank you for sharing.
I feel more human now than I did when I was, you know, chasing other dreams. Yeah. And again, as I said earlier, I've been on a journey, just like everybody else has their own journey. Mm-hmm. And my, you know, options that you take when you come to forks in the road were all, you know, based on the right thing at that time.
Yeah, I mean,
at least the right judgment.
We all do the best we can at the right time, or at the time. You know?
Yeah, but now I look back on some of the decisions I made, and certainly have had a wealth of experience. Yes. and a wealth of wonderful people that I've met along the way, and you know, probably unlike many people, have experienced incredible highs. You know, I addressed the United Nations once. Mm-hmm. I've been in the World Series. I've been at the Masters with Tiger Woods, inside the ropes. I've done things that a lot of people think are really cool and were
or
really
dream
cool.
about, and they never fulfill those
Absolutely.
dreams.
I was able to fulfill a lot of dreams. Yeah. But I'm happier now.
Well, and you've made the full circle. Yeah. I mean, that's how I'm kind of witnessing what you're saying is you've made the full circle, and now you can just really enjoy.
Well, I enjoy my family more.
Yeah.
I have more time for my family. I have a closer connection with my kids and my wife and my dog, and I get to have a better life. And I also have a closer connection to what I'm doing with my time. You know, our time, I think, is perhaps our greatest wealth, because you were asking about, you know, like if I was going to be alive. Well, every day of life now has to do more with closer connections to people than this more alienating relationships that you have in a corporate environment.
Right, right. So usually I ask how you were raised, and I know you just barely got a few words in there about how you were raised around money. And now, were you raised here in California?
No, I was raised in Connecticut.
Oh, okay.
And by a single mom.
Okay.
We had this odd circumstance where we were actually a very poor family in the midst of a very, very wealthy community. We grew up in Westport, Connecticut, which is very similar to what Marin County is like. And my mom had divorced my father and taken me and my brother away from a rather difficult environment and put us in this wonderful community along the Long Island Sound, an hour outside of New York. We had all of the you know, the wonderful attributes of this, you know, idyllic childhood, unaware entirely of our financial circumstances. My mother was this incredibly strong woman. She worked 3 jobs. We never knew, my brother and I never knew that we were poor. We never knew that she was struggling to keep us alive. And I always wore really nice clothes. We always went into the theater in New York. We had this wonderful childhood.
And without a father.
Without a father. And you know, my mom was father and mother to us.
Well, I can totally relate, because I've been a single parent since I was 3 months pregnant. And so I have a daughter, and she's doing so well. And she always says, "Mom, you couldn't be a better mom and dad." Yeah,
that's the way we felt about my mom.
Not that it was easy, because it forced me to use that left side of my brain, you know, the more disciplinary at times when I didn't really want to, but I did it.
Well, it took us many years later, after my brother and I grew up and we were adults and we'd had our own families and we were into our own careers, to really understand and discern more carefully what my mother sacrificed on our behalf.
Is she still living?
No, she just recently passed away.
Sorry,
and she lived this wonderful life because she achieved her life goals, which was for her 2 sons to be successful and happy.
Oh, well, I bet she was so proud.
She was.
I mean, she's still proud of you. That won't change. And your brother, is he here, or?
Yeah, he lives over in Berkeley. He
he
has his own television production company, and he works sports television productions all over the world. And
do you work together with
him? We have.
Oh,
We've worked together in the past many times, and sort of shared the same passion for sports. He's taken more of an angle toward the television side, and I toward more the team management side.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So what are the steps you're taking to make the minor league a national minor league? I mean, that's what I was understanding, is that you're trying to make it collectively a national.
I think what we're trying to do is grasp, and again, this is sort of a new side of the business for me that I'm learning freshly. I think what we're trying to do is to solidify not only the viability of our own little business here in San Rafael and Greater Marin County, at the same time assuring the viability of the other teams that are in our league, because one of the things we've learned that leagues have come and gone, but they're only as strong as the weakest owner.
Right. Well, that's, if anything, it's the top.
It is.
You know, I mean, everything trickles down.
And I think that that's one of the things that we work very hard to do. Not only to make sure that we're successful as a business, but do all we can to assure the success of our partners who are in the same league.
Right. So, I mean, how many minor leagues are there out there in the nation? Well,
there's two divisions, if you will, of minor league baseball. There's affiliated minor league baseball, which is all the teams that are actually linked to and connected to Major League Baseball teams, so that they train players to move up to the major league teams.
Oh, I see.
And each major league team, there's 30 major league teams, and each of them have 6 or 7 minor league affiliates. So there's about 200 teams in affiliated minor league baseball. In independent baseball, where we are not connected to any major league team, there are...
Which is like your team.
Just like us, yeah. We are the Pacific Association
Okay.
of Professional Baseball Clubs, and we're based on the West Coast. There are 6 other independent leagues in the country as well, spanning from the East Coast to the Midwest to the South. So every region of the country pretty much has its own independent league. One of the things that differentiates independent baseball from affiliated baseball is, at least in our case, on the West Coast, there's smaller scale teams. The businesses are smaller. We play in a ballpark here in San Rafael that seats about 1,000 people, which is a very small scale. The teams that say play on the East Coast, even though they're independent, they will generally draw 6,000 to 8,000 people. So the scale changes, and obviously all of the revenues, the whole business model changes based on the size of your stadium.
Right. So do you have a goal to like get a bigger stadium or use a bigger stadium?
No.
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 Okay.
I like just what we've got.
Okay.
I like our little funky ballpark here in the middle of San Rafael. I love being part of this community. That's not to say that in the future, if there were other opportunities out there, we wouldn't take a look at it perhaps. But for now, we like what we're doing, and I think the success that we've enjoyed from last year and going forward to this year, which appears to be building, is just wonderful. And I think that the closeness of the scale of our business, the intimacy of between the fans and the players, and the business people, I mean, it's a really nice symbiotic relationship.
You can't replace that.
I don't really feel like replacing that. It's really cool.
Yeah. So all the other teams, do they have about the same status as far as
in our league, in the Pacific Association, there are 2 teams over in Hawaii, also both with sort of 1,000 to 1,500 seat ballparks. And another team over in Vallejo, same thing, but between 1,000 and 1,500 seat ballpark.
Yeah.
So the scale is somewhat the same.
So I would think that you would have a good success at getting sponsors, local sponsors.
We have been very successful. We've been very, very fortunate that the business community, both here in San Rafael and throughout Marin County, has been incredibly supportive of what we're trying to do.
I mean, it's so healthy. You know?
Absolutely, and again, that's part of what we tell them is that you're supporting a small business, but we are a small business that is essentially based on doing something good for the community. We provide low-cost family entertainment for summer nights. It's $10 for a ticket. It's not a very expensive proposition. And we hire kids with summer jobs, and we're just doing something good for the community.
And look what it does for the players.
Well, and
they're fulfilling their dream.
Absolutely.
At that point in their life, they're fulfilling their dream.
Well, and I think that's really, really an important point you're raising, because the players are very, a very interesting part of this dynamic. These are kids who, by and large, have been to affiliated ball. They've been to higher levels of baseball.
Okay.
And for one reason or another, they've been bounced out, they've been released for a variety of reasons.
Right.
And they all have this dream, just like we have our dreams about where this business is all headed. Their dreams are to get back into affiliated baseball and make their way up to the major leagues. And they're playing not for money, because we don't pay them a great deal, but they're playing for the love of the game and for the hope that somebody will see them.
I'll leave you with this. The soul's journey. The higher self is our other guide who waits patiently while we journey into the illusion with the ego until we are ready to hear the truth. It is through the gentle whispers of the higher self that we wake up until we finally remember who we are. That's what transformation and enlightenment are. It is not that work kills men, it is worry. Work is healthy. You can hardly put more on a man than he can bear. But worry is rust upon the blade. It is not movement that destroys the machinery, but friction. By Henry Ward Beecher. I want to share this beautiful statement that epitomizes unconditional love. Love me without fear. Trust me without questioning. Need me without demanding. Want me without restrictions. Accept me without change. Desire me without inhibitions. For a love so free will never fly away. By Dick Supfren. He is a hypnotherapist and a Nightingale Conant author. Never give up on your pursuit of your purpose and passion, and even if you don't know what that is, work with integrity and have a positive attitude wherever you work, and especially with your family and friends. Be grateful for what you have, who you are, and be grateful for your freedom. And eat healthy. Good nutrition feeds the mind and the body, your body temple. Don't forget to exercise, move your body. Feed your spirituality with meditation and prayer, with unconditional love, and firstly, love yourself unconditionally, and share your abundance and wealth with others. Thanks for watching. Please support Marin TV that brings these messages. And remember, when fear knocks, let faith answer the door. Bye for now, until next time.